Gonna do a video on the moon in Aquarius with the sun in Gemini. You dig? Wake up in the morning, pockets on E. Living this life ain't free. Freedom ain't free. Freedom ain't free. Pen bleeds, freedom again. Drop signs like Orion, flex on. Still savages, just don't see the blood packaged up. Pressing one for the new day's more than pleasure. Lil Will, but just a fellow organism. I thought we all equal. Don't shut up, please. Don't shut up, please. Look, we cutting trees down. You even care? We killed everything on earth now. King of the jungle, no I don't mumble. Constant, conscious, so reckless. Enter this game to change it. Dark poles of earth with my statements. Teach and master rhyme the way of the rest of our bottom. Yeah, you know, living this life ain't free. Gotta get a dollar shown, freedom ain't free. Gotta get a dollar shown, freedom ain't free. Don't fuck with the drama, hell is hot as the sun. The show love and we give it back. The return is divine. Hell is hot. On a spaceship, yo Larry, 24K and AK soon, bigger than Jay-Z, ha, ha, and that's all on me, 808, be salivating, Sue show, worth kilo, a Nubian descended from the cosmos. Yeah. let me fix my chair real fast. You know what I'm saying? Let me get cozy real one time. You dig? But yeah, we got the, I'm saying, got the sun being in Gemini right now. You dig? We got the moon in Gemini. I mean, pardon me, with the moon in Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. So we're gonna be associating with an ideal, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Because Gemini is seeing both sides of things. You know what I'm saying? Gemini is communication and communicating that idea and things like that. And Aquarius is association. So based on our association, we're going to be communicating and things like that. So essentially, we're having this opportunity to associate with an ideal. You know what I'm saying? And with this being said, if we're creating our own ideal, we're then associating that ideal into the public spaces and things like that. I'm going to get my lighting right. Hold up 1 second. Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's better. You know what I'm saying? Hold up. Hold up. Yes, hold up. Let me get this right one time. With all this being said, we have the moon conjuncting Pluto at this point in time based on the degree. You know what I'm saying? Because the degree's at, I think, 1 degree Pluto at an Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? So with this being said, whenever the moon first entered into Aquarius at this point in time, we either took power and control or were allowing other things to, in turn, take power and control over us and have this deep change be enacted based on Pluto being deep change and transformation. Right? So essentially, we're transforming our emotions that we associate with at this point in time, or we're being transformed. You know what I'm saying? And keep in mind, we also have the moon trining a whole bunch of elements. You know what I'm saying? Pardon me, a whole bunch of alignments. So we got the moon trining the sun. You know what I'm saying? We also have the moon trining Venus and Jupiter. So with all this being said, the moon trining the sun is creating an opportunity. So the trine is the creation of an opportunity, 120-degree angle. So creating an opportunity to associate with an ideal, the sun in Gemini. So the moon in Aquarius trining the sun, pardon me, Venus in Gemini. This is values of appreciation, pardon me, valuing and appreciating a person, place, thing, or idea. And that's what Venus is all about. So essentially at this point in time, we are creating an opportunity to feel comfortable associating with the values of an idea, a person that has ideas, or a place that involves our ideas and things like that. And keep in mind, Gemini is communication, so we're essentially communicating about our love, communicating about our values and appreciation. And with this being said, we also have the moon trining Jupiter, like I say. So Jupiter is expansion and knowledge, wisdom, and experience. And based on Jupiter being Gemini, it's not actually the best space it can be in. Jupiter does best in Sagittarius, Pisces, and exalted in Cancer. So it's essentially opposite to where it's at home. So with Jupiter in Gemini, this is all about expansion of communication, or expansion of figuring out the puzzle and things like that. Because this Mercurian energy, or the Gemini energy, is all about moving fast and moving at a fast pace, essentially. Because Mercury is the fastest moving planet, and Gemini is at home in Mercury and things like that. So keep that in mind, essentially. If you're facing the issue, if you're facing whatever side, you know what I'm saying, or facing both sides, essentially, or facing your problems, and essentially Jupiter and Gemini will help you expand upon these things and things like that. So essentially, you want to be kind of headstrong, so to speak. Be okay with hearing some criticism and hearing the other side of things, essentially. So essentially, we're creating the opportunity to associate with that expansion right now. And then we have the moon sextiling Mars, the North Node, and Chiron. Because we got Mars in Aries, we got the North Node in Aries, and we also have Chiron in Aries. So with all this being said, we are seeing the opportunity with our intentions, essentially. We're seeing the opportunity to associate with what we're passionate about based on Mars intentions, also being the same thing. Mars is intentions and passions. And also keep in mind, Mars is at home being in Aries. So Mars is doing pretty well here at this point in time. And keep in mind, the North Node is also in Aries. So, like I say, we're seeing the opportunity to associate with pardon me, what's that word? It's not passion, but purpose. There we go. Yeah, North Node is your purpose, or your experience that you're working towards, and it's like whenever you get more in this energy and things like that, it tends to be an uncomfortability based on the South Node being your innate comfortability that you come from, essentially, and you're working towards the North Node, essentially, uncomfortability. So seeing the opportunity to associate with the purpose. And Chiron being in Aries, we're having, like I say in previous videos, Chiron's the wounded healer. So essentially, we're having the wounded healer being in Aries. Aries is the warrior. So the warrior's wounded and things like that. So based on Chiron, I'm saying sextile in the moon, essentially at this point in time, we're seeing the opportunity to continue to be that warrior, but also associate with this warrior mentality about going about our issues and things like that, and our scrapes and bruises and things of that nature, based on the Chiron energy. And last but not least, we have the moon in conjunction Lilith. So at this point in time, we're misunderstanding our darkest moment, or misunderstanding what's embarrassing and things like that. So essentially, we're misunderstanding we're having an opportunity to misunderstand emotionally what is embarrassing for us and things like that. So just because we associate with a certain emotion, we may misunderstand why we feel embarrassed and things like that. So yeah, but with all this being said, the moon in Aquarius, I'm saying this is going to be a consistent thing wherever we have it conjunct in Pluto going forward. So keep in mind, whenever we are about to hit, we're leaving Capricorn, essentially, the final degrees of Capricorn, like the 26, 27, 28, you know what I'm saying, that whenever it begins to cusp into Aquarius, you got to get ready to gear up for something to change. You know what I'm saying, gear up for some extreme change emotionally or in the realm of reality. So yeah, moving forward now, we're gonna go with Aquarius rising. Obviously, first is gonna be the first sign of breakdown throughout the houses, based on the moon being Aquarius at this point in time. And also keep in mind, you know what I'm saying, before I get into the houses, give me one moment, water break. Breaking news. Dang, y'all interesting in the chat. That got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But yeah, okay. Like I was saying, the waning moon. So the waning moon is all about shedding. So at this point in time, you have to shed a certain emotion, or see what associate is non-beneficial to the actual Gemini ideal and things like that. So essentially, whatever is necessary in that house, or that realm of reality. You know what I'm saying? So the houses actually depict the realm of realities and areas of life and things like that. So whatever area of life you have Aquarius in, you're going to see, okay, I need to shed this certain energy within this house and things of that nature. And then have rebirth or a transformation based on, like I said, Pluto is conjuncting at this point in time. So we're having this ability, you know what I'm saying, to have this change go on and things of that nature. So essentially, at this point in time, either you take power and control or you get power and control taken over. And like I said, with the waning moon is all about after we have that full moon, we're seeing what to shed after the fact of the full moon. So essentially, what area of life you had Sagittarius in, you had that full accumulation, and then you're seeing, okay, what do I actually need to get rid of moving forward before we have this new moon and things like that. You know what I'm saying? My camera be playing with me. I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, getting back to looking like Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Having the light in the background and things like that, you know what I'm saying? Looking like Gandhi or Muhammad and all them, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, getting back into it, Aquarius in the first house is the personal affairs. So essentially, associating with one's personal individuality and things like that. So whatever personal affair you got going on or way you feel about oneself, essentially that's what's going on with the Aquarius in the first house with the moon being here. Because the moon being here, it's all about comfortability, emotions, and what one feels comfortable with. So essentially, you feel comfortable or uncomfortable associating with one's individuality or being oneself. Which essentially for an Aquarius is being outspoken and knowing what to say, when to say, and things like that. But also comprehending that being unpredictable is kind of one nature. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. So yeah, moving forward, the individual asks, "Can I ask a question?" You could ask the question after I'm done breaking everything down. You know what I'm saying? Or you could ask the question now. You know what I'm saying? And I'll get to it later, whichever way you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, moving forward, Capricorn rising has the second house in Aquarius, which is the values of a person, place, thing, idea. So essentially, you value your associates, you value the people that you're around, you value the places that you associate with, the things that you associate with, or the ideas that are associated with this value system, essentially. So let's say you value being athletic. So essentially, based on that value system, you're then in turn most likely going to associate with valuing your health regimen and knowing what's the best way to go about your dietary function and things like that, and when to eat and things of the nature. So yeah, so essentially that's what the Capricorn is dealing with at this point in time. They're associating with their values of a person, place, thing, or idea, and based on that association, they're then having the Gemini in the sixth house, which is creating a routine and pattern for them. Essentially, based on whatever you value, that you then in turn need to utilize that to put on your routine and pattern, so that way you can actually begin to stay consistent. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So moving forward, the Sagittarius is having the Aquarius in the third house. So the Aquarius in the third house is a sextile, so seeing the opportunity. So essentially, the Sagittarius sees the opportunity in their environment and what to associate with at this point in time. That's the energy they got going on. And keep in mind that you have the Gemini in the seventh house. So essentially, you're adding on or opposing to the spotlight and things like that. So keep it cute, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. Like being more of the Leo energy, which is opposite of the Aquarius moon. And keep in mind, that's like a little moon trick. If you want to be in the right kind of energy, just utilize the opposite energy, and then you'll add on to whatever energy we actually have going on, essentially. Things like that. Or if you want to just stay to oneself, keep in mind that if you utilize the opposite energy, like for example, Leo, whenever we have the Aquarius moon and you just want to stay to oneself, then essentially you can be in that Leo energy and just be seen instead of associating, things like that. But yeah, that's a little moon trick and things of the nature. If you're having trouble with a certain moon sign, just tap into the opposite energy. So yeah, moving forward, the Scorpio is having the fourth house being in Aquarius. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this and things like that. How I want to sit. I'm saying, hold up, fix my chair. How do I want to sit with this light? This flunking me out. It's like in the other videos I ain't really noticed it too much, but now I'm noticing it. But yeah. Moving forward, the Scorpio is having the Aquarius in the fourth house. So essentially, it's a square at this point in time. So they're having to learn. It's a learning process for the Scorpio. They're learning that they actually have to associate with things to be a part of the home and things like that. So essentially, the Aquarius being in their own space, but also being a space within a space. The Scorpio likes to stay to oneself within that space and things like that. So essentially, the Scorpio has to find, okay, what can I learn to associate with to actually bring my internal passion to the forefront and things like that and become beneficial. Or what do I need to shed to actually have a more harmonious circumstance in the home and things of that nature. So essentially, the Scorpio has to learn what to communicate, essentially, or what frame of mind they need to stay fixed in. And the Libra rising is having the fifth house, being an Aquarius. So this is the trine. It's the 120-degree angle. I'm saying, hold up. I don't know why. I feel flunked out about the lighting. I'm gonna get me some real good lighting, essentially. Whenever I get some super big funds. I got super big funds right now. You know what I'm saying? But like, imagine having one of them big giant director's lights and having the right spot and things like that. That'd be nice. Having the lighting be real good. But Leo likes that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, moving forward. Like I say, commercial over. The Libra rising is having the fifth house in Aquarius, so they're having the trine, 120 degree angle. So essentially, at this point in time, they're creating the opportunity what to express with, I'm saying, based on their association. So essentially, the Libra has to find what to balance to then in turn associate with and express with, and what public space that they want to be seen in, or what kind of like name that they want to have. Essentially, that's what you're expressing at this point in time, or like childlike nature. So essentially, there's a whole lot of communication going on for the Libra because they're all trined up to the sun and the moon at this point in time. So whatever the Libra is working with, essentially, they're going to create the opportunity at this point in time. So keep that in mind. Whatever you communicate or whatever you put on the spotlight, being the Libra, you're then going to in turn create an opportunity, no matter what it is. It's like I say, keep in mind that just because it's a trine doesn't mean it's always beneficial or a positive thing. You could utilize the trine to a negative detriment, things like negative space, and end up being a detriment. So you don't want to overuse energies. Be aware of where it's being played out. So essentially, the moon in Aquarius doesn't do amazing here. It doesn't do awful here either. You're saying if the moon was in Scorpio or Capricorn, it might have a little bit different circumstance with the trine and things like that. So yeah, moving forward, like for example, if the moon was in Scorpio and you're a Pisces, that trine might not be always the most beneficial thing. So moving forward, the Virgo rising is having the sixth house in Aquarius. So the sixth house in Aquarius is about a routine pattern or the health based on what one is associating with. So like, is what you're associating with healthy? Is the diet that you're utilizing and the time of the day that you're eating and things like that? Is that beneficial for oneself? And what you're in the public space routinely and your pattern and things like that. Essentially, the Virgo right now is going to misunderstand that you have to stay fixed in that and things like that. So, like I say, the Virgo in the sixth house is a 150-degree angle. It's a misunderstanding to the Aquarius energy. So, with this being said, the Virgo has to see that, okay, I may misunderstand that I actually need to be fixed on things and not be so adaptable and mutable and things like that and helping everybody else out. Maybe I need to stick to my own routine and pattern. And that might be a misunderstanding. Maybe you want to actually associate with things and things like that and it'll actually mess up your routine and pattern. So it's kind of like a give and take energy with this. Then moving forward, the Leo is having the seventh house in Aquarius. So it's the opposition. So you can add on or oppose to the Aquarius energy. And essentially, at this point in time, the Leo is adding on to the associates or adding on to their public spaces, or they're being opposite to it. And they don't actually want to be a part and they want to just shine on their own. So essentially, the Aquarius energy is essentially opposite to the Leo because they allow others to shine based on what they put the spotlight on and things like that. And they allow the spotlight to be shared. And the Leo tends to just have the spotlight on oneself. So essentially, the Leo has to add on or oppose to a relationship that they're associating with and things like that. So then moving forward, the Cancer is having the eighth house in Aquarius. So the eighth house is about transformation, rebirth, and behind the scenes and secrets. And based on the Cancer, being the rising sign, it's having a 150-degree angle misunderstanding to this Aquarius energy. So essentially, at this point in time, the Cancer misunderstands that they have to transform their associates or transform what they actually care about to then in turn have a beneficial circumstance for their dream and things like that. So they're creating the opportunity in their eighth house to transform what's going on in the 12th house with the Gemini sun. So yeah, essentially, if the Cancer isn't able to transform and utilize this rebirth energy to actually work towards the dream and put on the spotlight whenever the sun enters Cancer and things like that. They're going to see in their personal life what seeds they've manifested on the positive end or the negative end, you know what I'm saying, based on the higher or lower octave, essentially. Whatever seeds you planted, you're then going to have those seeds, you know what I'm saying, grow, and you're like, oh, dang, this is the fruit. So yeah, moving forward, the Gemini rising is having the ninth house in Aquarius. So this is the trine. And it's the Gemini, the ninth house, pardon me, the Gemini rising having the ninth house in Aquarius. So it's all about the morality of your associates and things like that, or the knowledge, wisdom, and the experience. So essentially, if you're a part of a wise group at this point in time, in the ninth house, you have a higher octave Gemini. But if you're in the lower octave, essentially the group that you're around has a low morality. And also, they're probably non-intellectuals. I almost sounded non-intellectual. Like, for example, based on how I was about to go about saying that sentence. But yeah, essentially, like I say, the ninth house is about morality, knowledge, wisdom, and experience, and travel. So essentially, whatever group that you're traveling with at this point in time, if they're knowledge and wisdom based, then they know how to go about being in the public spaces and things like that. But being associated with the wrong morality can actually be non-beneficial at this point in time. So essentially, you're creating the opportunity and what to communicate with amongst your associates. And like I say, with the same with the Libra, keep in mind that you're trined up to all the energy in the sun and the moon. So whatever you decide to create the opportunity in, that's what opportunity is going to take place. And moving forward, the Taurus rising is having the 10th house, being in Aquarius. So this is all about the status, what the Taurus is known for, and the career and the blueprint. So essentially, the Taurus has to learn what to be consistent or stubborn upon based on their status. So essentially, if the Taurus is having a status that they can't maintain, then they can't actually have this narration or this status to be known for, things like that, and they can't actually communicate it. So that essentially the Taurus is associating with what is best to then in turn have what they have being valued based on the Gemini in the second. So with this being said, the Taurus has to learn how to be more communicative and things like that, be more associative. It's not always easy. Like the Taurus likes to be stubborn and be more in their own little circumstance, situation, and feel comfortable and safe, things like that. So essentially, the Aquarius is a little bit unpredictable. So essentially, you have to learn how to be more unpredictable in your status, essentially, to then in turn have the blueprint, you know what I'm saying, be utilized. And moving forward, the Aries in the 11th as having the 11th house in Aquarius. So the 11th house in Aquarius for the Aries is a sextile, so seeing the opportunity. So essentially, the Aries is personally seeing the opportunity and what associates to associate with, or what public places to be associated with, and has seen that opportunity of who to communicate with in that public place and things like that. So moving forward, pretty much for the Aries, if you're on the higher octave, the associates that you're around are bringing you around even better associates at this point in time, and essentially the group that you're known for being around is actually becoming even more beneficial, and you're seeing opportunities all around in that public space or that association. So now, moving forward to the Pisces, last but not least, is having the 12th house in Aquarius. So it's about the dreams, illusions, and nightmares. So essentially, you're communicating about the ending of things or the dreaming of things or how you see things moving forward and things like that. So essentially, they're associating with the dream. And that's pretty much what Pisces is always doing. They're always in the dream realm. So essentially, at this point in time, they're having this fixed thought about the dream, illusion, and nightmare and things like that. So essentially, the Pisces is either on the higher octave, they're able to communicate about a dream that is reality, or on the lower octave, they're on a delusional dream, or it's like a nightmare, and nobody can actually communicate with them about the dream that they have in their mind and things like that. So yeah, essentially the Aquarius energy is all about association and what you're associated with. And essentially whatever association that you're dealing with, you're then going to have an ideal created out of that association. And that's the energy that we got going on. So yeah, I just so happen to want to play another song, so I'm going to do that. I like this song. Hold on. Oh, I gotta play on the speaker. Maybe that's not loud. If you know the song, comment it. You know what I'm saying? Comment it before I go ahead and rap this. You feel me? Yeah. Conscious in pursuit of president. Speaking dollars, that's my president. Elevated overthrow the president. Flowing better than it's ever been. A young Anglo-American. Golly, how we swiftly make the recipe into custody. Believe how by red. I'm zoning, found myself. AU with the vision. 47. You'll be astonished. Chronic doted smoking out my lungs. Pack a punch. That's type of weed. Make my eyes bleed. Broken vision, picture like my elemental malice. Mary Beth, the child is green. Make my chakras balance. Truly want a lady, but I'm blessed. Truly want to thank ya. Truly want to thank ya to my creator. Remember Kati, love renaissance to the fullest. It's all love from up above. Switching lanes, gripping on the wheel again to the fifth dimension. Base a whole 7 in a sit-in. Indian style, do. Crypto blood united too. But don't pass Trump the blunt, fool. Shout out to this killing concert. Inspired me to drop the bomb first. On these bitch made it leaders in the golden, truly golden leaders. But it's gangland, so grab a heater. Cold as Alaska, we all King Kunta. To these martial law pursuers. Another dead by police, so an interracial beef. Ground in the melted pot, divide and conquer. How they plan to feast. But yeah, thank y'all for tapping in. And with all this being said, keep in mind that we in the age of Aquarius now for real. And based on Aquarius moving forward into Pisces and Pluto, you know what I'm saying? We're going to be having our associations and what we're associated with in our technology be even more improved and transformed. It's going to be a whole rebirth process and a transformation. So keep in mind, whatever you're associating with at this point in time, you're then going to transform into that, you know what I'm saying, realistically, and things like that. So keep that in mind at this point in time, that whatever seeds you're planting now with the Aquarius energy, you're then going to utilize those seeds that you've planted to then in turn have a blueprint for whenever the moon goes into Aquarius over and over again throughout this Pluto and Aquarius process and things like that. So essentially you want to keep your eye on whenever the moon's going into Aquarius and whatever's going on and things like that at that point in time, to then in turn transform for a beneficial circumstance whenever the moon goes into Aquarius essentially, but throughout this whole Pluto and Aquarius process, which is, it's going to be a long haul. So yeah, thank y'all for tapping in, and much love and holla back. You know what I'm saying? You could email me if you're looking to get a reading. If you had any questions and things like that, you go ahead and email me for the reading. I'll give you a menu, and you can order whatever's kind of reading you're looking for, like a progress reading, natal chart reading, or even just a monthly chart reading, you know what I'm saying, or a monthly calendar reading upon what's going to be going on for you and things like that. So yeah, everything got a different little circumstance. You could tap in with that, and I'll send you a menu. So yeah, much love and holla back, and stay safe or stay dangerous, whatever's necessary. You feel me?